Hi, this is Nicole Rivera, and you're listening to the Stop Writing Alone podcast. Fellow writers, happy September. This is my favorite time of year. It's a time of new beginnings for me, even more so than the new year, because for me, as a lifelong student, and then I became a public school educator, September marked the new school year, the beginning of all the things. So I have not been able to shake that off, even though today is the 12-year anniversary of me submitting my medical leave paperwork from my teaching career. I cannot believe that. It popped up on Facebook Memories this morning, and I was like, wow, this was the day in September. Now that I look back at it, it makes so much sense that it falls in this way because, again, that marked a whole new beginning for me, a whole step into a brand new life and lifestyle. First healing myself from my rare disease of idiopathic intracranial hypertension, and really just stepping into my passion, this passion that was, I don't want to say like buried under my teaching, but my teaching took so much of my creative output that I really didn't allow my writer self to play in the way that I was finally afforded. Once my symptoms started to calm down, the first thing I wanted to do was get started with story, first reading and then getting back to my writing. And now here we are 12 years later. Not only am I writing on the regular and still consuming story at like ridiculous paces, but it transformed into a whole writing community. Stop writing alone, because while I was on that journey, first, very much alone, away from all of my colleagues and students and the multitudes of people that I saw on the day-to-day basis, then I started to reach out online and I started to find writing community and then creating writing community. And really, it's unbelievable to me. What is incredible to me today is that, like I said, it's 12 years since I submitted that paperwork. And that would have been my 12th year of teaching, that year as it began. So I've very much over the years here on the Stop Writing Alone podcast and any meetings, for those of you that have met with me, you know that I still identify as a teacher. It is like in my soul. However, I think part of that was that there was so much time in my life devoted to that. And since then, the writing thing has been the newer part of me. This day now marks more time in this writer's mind, devoting myself to the writer's mind, than in the teacher's mind. So I am really curious to see what happens with Nicole Rivera moving forward. But all of this is to say that right now on this day, I'm thinking about getting started, even though, it's like I'm just doing the same projects and the same things that I've been doing all along. But there's always that newness, that beginning, that getting started in September. And so what I wanted to talk to you about today in this podcast is 3 things that I like to do before getting started. 3 things that I've been proactively doing in the last week, 2 weeks, before hitting this point. And I'll probably be doing it, for the next week or so as I'm getting started. But 3 things that I tend to do before I get started on anything new or in a new phase. And number 1 is clearing my slate. And that happens on, it's more of like a physical sort of situation. I think I've talked about this with you before, but things that I've done in the last week or so is sat down, this is like almost embarrassing, with my inbox on my email. Now, I was away for a while. I did not have connection, like any kind of reliable connection to the internet while I was away. So emails were piling and piling and piling up. I don't know how many different things I subscribe to. Aside from the things that I proactively seek out and subscribe to, the mentors and the voices that I want to sort of fill my space with, there is also all of the promotional nonsense that somehow I get hooked on and then I never delete. Guys, when I sat down with my inbox this week, the breaking point was that I was over 17,000 unread emails in my inbox. And I was like, okay, I don't even know how many happened while I was away, but I sat down and nearly emptied the inbox, because I didn't just I know a lot of people recommend click everything and delete all, and if it was important, you'll find your way back to it. I have too many things that are like saved and flagged that are important to me. So I literally went through bunches. Like I did a search for, what was one of them? Oh, like Home Depot for some reason. Somehow I got myself on Home Depot's email list. So I said anything from Home Depot. Then I selected all of those and deleted them. And then there was another store that was emailing me like almost every single day. I don't know what it was. Anyway, the point is I cleared my inbox. And what I have been doing since is every morning checking my email, making it part of my day, and unsubscribing from anything that I don't want to read. So it's gotten so much better. But that's part of my clearing the slate. And then the other part of that is clearing my writing space and cleaning up my office. We're going back to school. My office is shared with my son. So I was cleaning up the space for him anyway to get ready for homework. And then I got to my side of the office and I said, oh, what happened over here? So I have been taking out everything out of my drawers, asking myself, what do I really want to put in there? And clearing this whole slate before I get started on my big September projects. I want this to be more of my space under my control. Not that, it was wildly out of control, but when you're working in a space consistently and the work is the thing, sometimes, you shove something in a drawer real quick to get it off the space so that you can do the next thing. And then you do that 2 or 3 times in a row and you got yourself a hot mess. So that's the second thing in part of the clearing the space. There's the digital space, clearing the inbox, clearing my hard drive, those types of things. I did get a new laptop just recently, so I don't necessarily I didn't have to clear the hard drive, but that is something that I'm doing proactively now as I'm using it. Every time I download something to either put in an email to the Stop Writing Alone community or to create a PDF for the Stop Writing Alone subscribers, I put it into the PDF, I put it into the email, and then I delete it off my hard drive. So I'm just keeping that slate clean. And then sort of like a mental clearing of the slate that I've done in the last week is sitting down and calling and making all of the appointments that needed to be made, all the different annual doctor's appointments. For me, that's a long list, but I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for my son. I'm doing it for my husband, just to get everything on the calendar and filling that calendar up with the things that sort of like need to get done before I get started. This is all before I get started. So that's my clearing the slate. That clears my brain of the, oh my goodness, I didn't do our annual dentist appointment. Let me not forget that. Forget it. It's already done. It's on the calendar. We're going. So number 2, after I've cleared the slate, in a sense, and let me just say, when it comes to that cleaning up your office writing space thing, I know writers that have let that go on far too long. I've been clearing out my office. That focus, intent of cleaning before I do anything else, that ends by the end of this week. Today's Thursday. I will give myself maybe till Saturday to just do like organize before other things. Starting Sunday, starting with the new week. It's writing first. You have to set a deadline for yourself with these things. And there's a point of good enough. This, I can tell you right now, even with my proactive cleaning of this space, it is not going to be the pristine space that I'm imagining it could be. It's just not. That's not me. It's not happening. So rather than tell myself, oh, I got to keep going. I have till Saturday, and whatever gets done is done, and I move on. Because phase 2 of the second of the things that I have to do before I get started is choosing my have-tos. Now, if you've been listening for a while, if you've been hanging out with me and Stop Writing Alone events, you may have noticed that I kind of have a thing when people speak in definitives. This is how you have to write. You have to write every single day to be considered a writer. You have to, whenever somebody says you have to do something, and this is in my writing life and beyond, my knee-jerk reaction, whether I say it out loud or not, is, do you? Do you really have to? And so this harkens way back into my childhood. I think I was either a junior or a senior in high school. I went to Catholic school. So, of course, I had religion class all throughout my upbringing. But I believe it was junior year where it shifted to not just be religion, but it was also philosophy. And this was the most fascinating thing to me. And I remember learning about Sartre. And of course, I'm not saying his name in the very cool way. I'm from Staten Island. I will say Sartre. Jean-Paul. And I distinctly remember writing in my notebook, every man is condemned to be free. Every man is condemned to be free. And there was something about this philosophy that just clicked for me on so many different levels and just became such a part of me that this is how I started every single year with my students. I would write that same phrase, that same sentence on the board, and I would say, every man is condemned to be free. And I need you to understand this before we move forward, because every single thing we do from here on out, and really forever, is a choice. So I want you to choose to come to this class. I want you to choose to do your work. And of course, every single class that I'd say this, some kid would say, Miss, I'm not choosing to be here. I mean, I taught high school mathematics. No one felt like they chose to be there. And I said, no, you absolutely did choose to be here. Nah, miss, if I don't come, my grandma's going to kill me. And I'd say, aha, there you go. There's your consequence. And you don't want to deal with your grandma, whether it's going to be, yelling at you, punishing you, whatever it is that she's going to do. You don't want to deal with that. And that's why you're choosing to come. Then some other kid will say, nah, miss, nah. The truancy cops, they're out there. They'll pick me up. And I'd say, okay, there you go. You have another consequence. And you're choosing to not get picked up by the truancy cops. And that's why you're coming. And so we continue this conversation until I just beat it into them. That everything that we do is a choice based on the consequences that either we want to experience. Maybe you're choosing to come to class because you want to be educated, you want to get the diploma, or the things that you don't want. You don't want to be picked up by a truancy cop. You don't want grandma to, you don't want to have an uncomfortable existence with your grandma. When we step into our writing lives, I don't think that there are any rules that you can find from a writing mentor or a writing book that it can tell you exactly how to do things and tell you what you have to do to be a success. But I do think every single one of us has the ability and really the responsibility to choose our own have-tos. And I will say that when I get too much into my own head about the things that I don't have to do and everything is a choice, and I start telling myself, well, I don't have to do that and I don't have to do that, the consequence that I buck up against is I'm miserable because then I'm just not doing anything. So before you get started, whether it's in a new season of writing or on a new project, you need to sit down and ask yourself what consequences you want, what consequences you don't want. And this is basic goal setting, right? What do you want to accomplish in the next month, in the next quarter, in the next couple of weeks? And what do you not want, right? So many new writers will say, I really want to write a novel, but I don't have the time, right? I have my job, I have my family, I have, my social life, whatever it is, all the have-tos that you have. So I don't have the time. And I'm here saying, well, every man is condemned to be free. And of course, man is in quotes, man, woman, person is condemned to be free. You gotta choose to have the time. It goes back to that author who I can't remember what interview it was that I heard where somebody asked him, where do you find the time to do your writing? And he said, I hate that question because nobody asks me when I find the time to brush my teeth. It's just a priority. I just make it happen. So think about the consequences. Think about the things that you want to experience. Think about the things you don't want to experience in the next couple of months and design your have-tos. Do you have to write every day? Or do you have to write every week? Or do you have to just have a certain part of your project completed by the end of the month and leave it nebulous and then decide how do you make that writing fit in? You design your have-tos and then you stick to them, right? Because they're have-tos. It's kind of like when I go to conventions. This started back in my teaching career. I would go to different teaching conventions and everything, and I would sit down with the list of panels that were coming, and I now do this when I was going to say when I go to BookCon, but BookCon is gone. So sad. But when I go to different comic book conventions, I just went to the Tampa Bay Comic Convention when I was in Florida, and then when we go to New York Comic Con. Anytime I go to a convention, I look at all the panels and I decide what are my non-negotiables. What are the things that I have to go to? And then I fit in the rest of my day around it. This person is going to be here. I have to be there at this time. And then what else does anybody else want to do while we're here? This is how we design our life. What are the things you have to do first and then fill in the rest around it? Yeah. But this is not for anyone else but you. These are your have-tos. So step 1, clean your slate. And that's like you get all those silly things out of the way so that you can think about what is it that I really want to accomplish moving forward? What are my have-tos? Define them for yourself. And then step 3, the number 3 thing that you have to do before you get started, which is kind of what Stop Writing Alone is all about, is you have to find or create your support system. Once you know what you have to accomplish, you then have to ask yourself, who the heck is going to support me in this moving forward? Who's going to support me? How are they going to support me? What can I find? And I sometimes struggle with this to find the right support system for the right sort of have-to that I have on my list. So, of course, like for me right now, moving forward, I've already... there was the last step of my have-tos was kind of like nebulous for me up until this week. So first is, of course, the Stop Writing Alone community, whether it's through Mighty Networks. I mean, I shouldn't say whether it is. I'm in all of the Stop Writing Alone spaces, right? So I've got support in Mighty Networks where I'm chatting it up with other writers. I've got the Substack where when I show up to write on the Substack, I really do feel like I'm connecting with others that are on the same journey. And when people write in the comments to me, that helps that conversation keep going. And then we have our meetings, our Zoom meetings coming up. And that's more support for me, just those conversations with fellow writers, whether it's with the whole community or with the paid subscribers. And then, very exciting because it's fall, I know that the Happy Campers Club is coming back in October and November, which is a huge support system when we have that daily interaction with the whole community live on Zoom. So that's number one arc of my support system moving forward for this part of the year. The second bit is a group that I've been talking about since the beginning, even before like Stop Writing Alone had some real legs and had a community that I was constantly connecting with. There's the Voxer Vixens, as I like to call them, my ladies that I connect with on Voxer. We've also started calling ourselves the Stop Dreaming Alone group. That's Claire Oldham West, Emma Isaacs, Kim A. Floden, and Joanna Perez Peralta. All of these ladies that we connect on Voxer on the daily just for creating each of our own online presences. That's just, I don't know how. I wouldn't have been here without those people. And so really, really interesting is that I got real quiet in August, not just here on the podcast, not just on my YouTube channel. I wasn't connecting with anybody. I wasn't going on Voxer. I wasn't going outside of in any big way in Stop Writing Alone because I had all these tech difficulties. There's no internet connection where I was in Florida. And I felt the impact of that. And when I got home, I was like, I don't know where to begin. I don't even know how to start to step back in to what I was doing before. And it took me a couple of days to realize that the first thing I needed to do was just reconnect with my people, with my Voxer Vixens, with my Stop Writing Alone community. And it was just a couple of conversations that weren't even about like, hey guys, I don't know where to begin. It was just like, hey guys, I was disconnected all month. So it's I don't know where to start. Not asking for advice, just stating the facts. And that was it. Just saying it, just hearing other people's voices, just reconnecting with my support system. Suddenly, all of my ideas were bubbling back. I was like, holy crap. That's right. I'm such a dope, right? I'm here. I'm the Stop Writing Alone person. And I didn't realize that my greatest weakness in August was that I was alone. So this third step before getting started, finding your support system, is really, really pivotal. But just like you have to define your have-tos, you have to decide and design the support system that's going to work best for you. So I know all the things that I have going on in Stop Writing Alone always continue to support me. I know that my Voxer Vixens are going to support me. And then I have found a new teacher that really speaks to me at this time, and that's Leonie Dawson. I'm not sure if I spoke about her here on the podcast before, but Leonie is who I went to learn about how to step away from social media in a big way in terms of the business. And she's just a wonderful sort of soul and presence, and she really speaks to me, and that's really important to me for an instructor. She has like right on her about page, if you're like, wait, who is Leonie Dawson? This is the quote she has. She says, I'm a massive hippie, introverted weirdo, and I've been able to achieve all my dreams. I love her. She is a weirdo. She loves to curse a lot when she's in her meetings and stuff. But yeah, she's wonderful. And right now, one of my have-tos is wrapping up the Stop Writing Alone book. Like, enough is enough, Nicole. Like, let's just go. And Leonie, like I said, I took her course on social media, stepping away from social media. I've taken her course, I'm in the midst of her course about getting organized, which is part of cleaning my slate. And the next one that I'm going to dive into is publishing your book, getting your book out into the world in 40 days. So this is part of my support system because it supports my have to. It's a person that speaks to me. I'll put her link. I just became an affiliate for Leonie too, so I'll put the link in the show notes if you want to just check out her site and everything. But those are my 3 aspects of my support system. Stop Writing Alone, which is got a lot going on. The Voxer Vixens and my Stop Dreaming Alone crew, and Leonie Dawson, who is, that new instructor voice that is really speaking to me and helping me move forward. So these are the 3 things that you need to do before getting started. Just to sum up again, you got to clear your slate. That's physically, mentally, digitally. You have to choose your have-tos. Choose your have-tos because that's really what's going to help you set the right goals and then achieve those goals. And once you have those have-tos defined and you know what you have to accomplish for yourself moving forward when you get started, then you find your support system. Or like I said, create your support system, because that first part of my support system, that Stop Writing Alone, is something that I created. It's taken time, but it really is. It's a service that I offer to writers, but there's no denying that it serves me. And what I will be doing this month, I just put the calendar for the September events through the Stop Writing Alone Substack this morning. There's 2 live Zoom calls that are open to everybody. That's on September 16th at 5 p.m. There's going to be a writing prompt party, one of my favorites. And on September 20th, which is Tuesday, we're going to have a write-in at 5:30 p.m. These are Eastern times, right? And so that is one aspect of when I'm going to be showing up and getting my support and fun with community. But also for the paid subscribers, in addition to those 2 meetings, there are going to be 4 more write-ins. On Tuesday, the 6th, there's going to be an 8 a.m. and a 12 p.m. one. And then on Tuesday, the 13th, there's going to be a 9 a.m. one and a 1 p.m. one. Again, all Eastern times. There's going to be a new edition this month. We're going to start doing our goal setting chats, not just doing them in post form, which is what we've been doing up until now. So on September 9th at 12 p.m. Eastern, there's going to be a goal chat with the VIP subscribers. And there's going to be 2 other meetings. We have, of course, the VIP exclusive writing prompt party, which is going to be on Friday, the 23rd at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then one of my favorite additions that's come through the whole Substack community is the story club that we've been doing, where we've been learning together using the book 27 Essential Principles of Story. We're on lesson 3. And we will have our chat about that on September 21st, which is a Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And the week before that, I will share a writing exercise that I designed for it. So like that kind of support, just learning, going through this whole book of, right now we're in the section of the book that talks all about story structure things. I'm learning, but I don't like to learn alone. I like to bounce my ideas off of other people. I'm applying that to my own writing. It's just been wonderful. Like I said, it's a service that I provide to writers, but there's no question that I'm benefiting from it as well. So again, the Substack community is a free subscription. You just go to stopwritingalone.substack.com. But the VIP events, that's for the paid subscribers, that's $5 a month. Or you can do like paying for the year, which is a little bit cheaper. You just do $50 for the whole year at once, and you would get access to all of those meetings as well. So so you can join me and be part of my support team, and I can be part of your support team if that works for you, if that makes sense to you. I will have links for that in the show notes as well. Like I said, I'll share the link for Leonie if her she's got so many courses, guys. It's like ridiculous. Those are just the 3 that I've been in, or I should say 2 that I've been in, and the 3rd that I'm about to start. And I should say for Leonie, one of the other things that I love is that even when you become her student for just one the first time you become her student, then you get access to her monthly Zoom calls they're quite extensive, quite long, but we get to talk as a community and talk to her directly. It took me a little while to catch on to our time zone differences. She's on the other side of the planet from me, but they have been wonderful calls as well. So it's a pretty extensive support system that's been working for me. But that's it. It's time to get started. It's September. For me, that's Happy New Year's. Let's get started on our new projects, on our new season. But let's clear our slate first. Let's decide what our have-tos are before we do that and find the support systems that work best for us. So I feel like I'm back in the swing of things. You will see me on the YouTube channel tomorrow. That's Nicole Rivera on YouTube. Or if you're subscribed to the Substack, you will get it right in your inbox for our next writing prompt, which will be writing prompt number 31. Yes, I know I'm a little behind. We're going to make up some time. That's one of my have-tos by the end of September to be back on track with all of our writing prompts to make sure that we write 52 stories in 52 weeks. In the meantime, happy writing, and thank you, as always, for listening.